person. He was a very sweet guy. He would do anything for you. When he was the other way, he was just awful. I should have been scared of him. I should have been more scared than I was. It's hard to believe that he would do something like that. Like, how could you do that? He had gone to prison. Physically, he looks like a different man, but he's not. He's still the evil person that I remember him as. This, too, is Jim in prison. He still says he didn't do it. Still to this day. I thought that he was the perfect family man and that everybody was happy and everybody was getting along and we were a family. Looking at the picture, you don't see how evil is. He's smiling, he looks normal there, but I lived through it. I met Jim at a country bar in North Lima. I just remember laughing and having a good time and dancing, and we had a few drinks, and it was just a wonderful time. He was just the nicest guy. He took my number and we went out, we went to movies, we went dancing, and he was just great. He was a gentleman. I fell in love with him. He treated me like a princess. He asked me to marry him. And of course I said yes. I had children from a first marriage, and I was very eager for them to have a father figure in their life. I just felt like he was going to be there and he was going to take care of us all. Carrie Anna was born the year after we got married, and the twins were born 2 years later. He was a great husband. He was a great father. He was very much in love with his children. We did everything as a family. It was a fun time. Happy time.
Thank you so much, Mom. Kids are gonna love them.
We didn't have a lot of money. Jim made probably the biggest part of our income, being a truck driver. But my mother, she would always buy the kids stuff. And one day he just got really, really upset with my parents.
It's really helpful because we haven't had a lot of money this year.
My mom had gone shopping and she had bought the kids clothes, and he just became angry.
No, blue's her favorite color. She's gonna absolutely love it.
Give me the phone.
Hold on, I'm talking to my mom.
Now.
And he told her, I don't want you to buy them anything anymore.
I can take care of my own family.
I was very upset about that because, those are my mom's only grandkids. If she wants to buy them something, who are we to say you can't do that?
Stay away from my kids. Stay away from my wife. And stay the hell away from me.
He just got very nasty about it. He said they don't deserve anything and I don't want your mom buying anything more. If I want to buy them something, I'll buy it.
everybody's okay?
You better.
He would call and check and make sure that we were all okay. We would talk for a few minutes, and then he would hang up. We came home and the phone was shut off.
What's wrong with this thing?
He didn't pay the phone bills, and we didn't have a phone.
Something wrong with them.
He just didn't pay the bill for it. And I said, why did you not pay the phone bill? And he said, we don't need that anymore.
You don't need to be communicating with anyone other than me.
I think that the reason that he didn't pay the phone bill was because my friends would come over when he wasn't there or whatever, and he didn't like that. He didn't want anybody there. And he didn't want me to have any contact with anybody else. He didn't want me talking to my parents. He didn't want me talking to my friends. And he did not let me go out and meet friends. So pretty much I was isolated. I wasn't able to go anywhere, and I wasn't able to talk to anybody. He wanted us to be alone. When he would come home, a lot of times I would wake up in the middle of the night and he would be gone. Then I'd look for his truck, and his truck was gone. We never really talked about his life on the road, only he drove so many miles. So I was suspicious of what he was doing out there. And he didn't want me to have any contact with him. When he was out on the road, he was in another life. Usually when Jim was home, he spent a lot of time out in the shed. He was always doing something out there. I really didn't pay a whole lot of attention. It was like a man thing. I was usually in the house cleaning or doing whatever I had to do, taking care of kids. It was like his place to go. I had no idea what he was up to in the shed. One day he came in from work and he dropped his bag on the floor and he went in to take a shower. And I went in to take the dirty clothes out of his bag, and I found condoms.
What are these?
And I said to him, what are you doing with these in this bag? And he goes, oh, I'm holding them for a friend. And I'm thinking, yeah, really? That's the best story you could tell about that?
I would never do that to you. I love you.
I knew something was going on, but I wasn't quite sure what.
Stop being so paranoid.
I thought that he probably was seeing somebody when he was out on the road. But I guess I wanted to believe that everything was okay and that he was honest in the things that he said. This tape was a tape that my daughter Jennifer found on top of our bed. I received a call at work from Jenny, and believe that you would make a tape like that and leave it where someone could see it? I'm like, what are you talking about? And she described what was going on the tape. And I said, Jenny, you know what? I said, just put it back where you found it till I get home. I went home that evening and I watched the video. And it was just like, wow, what is this? It was my girlfriend and Jim having sex. I was devastated. I could not believe that he would be doing something like that. I waited for Jim to come in off of the road, and I asked him about it. And he said it wasn't him. I said, how could you say it wasn't you? I said, how stupid do you think that I am? I should have realized that this wasn't going to work, and I should have just cut my losses. But I didn't. You keep thinking that things are going to change or that you can change a person. I had hoped that we would be the perfect family. And the first few years of life, we did get along as a family.
Stop trying to convince me that it's not you.
But, after that, it's all downhill. We got into an argument over something. I don't even remember at this point what it was. But he just became somebody that he wasn't.
What's the matter with you? What are you, stupid?
He belittled me. I was fat. I needed to lose weight. Whatever comes out of his mouth, you're just supposed to take. It was so bad that it's like you didn't even want to be in the same house that he was in.
Is that too much to ask?
Sometimes I feel like he was two different people. When he was a nice person, you couldn't want for anything more. He was a very sweet guy. He would do anything for you. When he was the other way, he was just awful. A lot of things go through your mind, but you don't say anything because you're too afraid to say anything. He got mad at me one day, and I can't remember even what he was upset about. And we got into it, and I probably yelled back, and he slapped me. And knocked me over the chair. That was the first time I ever saw that type of a temper from him. I couldn't believe that he could do something like that. I did not fight back. I felt that it was better if he just didn't say anything. I thought, well, maybe it was my fault. Maybe I did something. And I was afraid of him, so I just put up with it. Then he walked out. He left. I became scared of him, knowing that he could become violent. I had never really seen that part of him, but he got very violent over time. I was scared. I was scared of him when he was home. He just became unbearable. always be yelling about something. And when he became that kind of person, no one wanted to be around him. He made my life a living hell. But what was I going to do? I had all these kids. I figured I'm better off staying with him. Where am I going to go? There was no way that I could just up and leave. If it was just myself or maybe one or two kids, you know, you could go somewhere. But with 6 kids, where are you going to go? So it was better if I just put up with it. I guess I never really thought that he would ever harm anybody. Boy, he said that would be a real good place to throw a body if you wanted to get rid of something.
I don't ask you for much. I sound like a broken record.
Most of the time when Jim lost his temper, everybody in the neighborhood could hear.
Stupid!
It was very hurtful. And it was very hurtful to watch him, the way that he talked to my kids. Jim hated Jenny. She was kind of bossy, and she was kind of rebellious. You know, she wouldn't put up with his... She would just tell him, hey, you're not my dad.
Something that she had done, and she just started yelling back at him.
You'll do what I say! Get upstairs and clean your room!
I don't have to listen to you!
He started to threaten her. And I went out there and I'm like, both of you, please just stop. And he walked away and Jenny walked away. She was just so fed up with him that she didn't know what else to do. So Children's Services came out to the house. And that was the end of that. They never came back. Jim was furious. He was really mad at her that she would do something like that.
I got some stuff for you guys.
Jim sometimes would bring back trinkets or some kind of jewelry, clothes, you know, just anything that maybe he found somewhere and he thought that they might want. One day when Jim came in off the road.
I got you some.
Okay. He had a cassette recorder, and he gave this cassette recorder to Jenny. And it had this young girl's voice on it.
Hey everybody, this is Dawn.
The girl said her name was Dawn.
I met a boy at the truck stop with the dreamiest eyes.
And she was talking about the place where she lived. She was in a home for wayward kids.
But I just had to get out of there and be on my own. Nobody understands me there.
She was a runaway. murder and how you get away with it. And she was very scared of it, you know, like, why would he give me something like this? And then she became very afraid of him. It sends a chill up your spine. I mean, why would you give something like that to a child? I can remember one time that we were on our way to Lake Erie and we stopped by a rest area to get a coffee or something. And there was like a lake around there on the one side.
You know what?
And he said, boy, he said, that would be a real good place to throw a body if you wanted to get rid of something. And, you know, like I laughed and I'm like, what? I didn't think anything of it. I just felt like he just said something stupid. I'm like, I'm sure he doesn't mean anything by that. You know, and we just left it go then.
Is everything okay?
No.
Jim had come home and he had told me that they had DNA tested him at work. I asked him why they had DNA tested him, and he said that there was something that happened in one of the trucks, and he's one of the drivers on that truck.
They're actually harassing everyone that used the truck in the last week.
He said that there was several people that they DNA tested that drove the truck. I didn't know why they were doing that, and he didn't tell me. It was no big deal, you know, nothing to worry about. So I didn't worry about it. Everything's fine. Okay. It's good enough for me. So I just let it go at that.
Now just relax. Another beer.
Okay.
He became very violent at home, more so than he had been, and I was really afraid.
Jenny is back talking me again.
I didn't want to be there by myself with the kids and him.
You better straighten them out, or I will. Do you understand me?
Yeah.
I was very scared what he would do to my children. I was afraid that he would snap at one point and that he would hurt one of my kids. And then one day, I came home from work. Jim was out on the road, and I happened to open the case with the camera in it, looking for something. And I found the kids' birth certificates and the kids' social security cards. It did not contain any of the older kids' information. It was just his kids, the three little ones. I came to the conclusion that he was going to leave, take off, and take the little kids with him. I was afraid he was going to take my children. And I just decided that I had had enough. I needed to get out of there. So I felt that it was best if I asked for help. I left on a Thursday. We went down to the courthouse to get a protection order against him. And that's when they put me into protection.
kids are fine.
I wanted to at least let him know that we were safe and that we were okay, because we were good friends.
I had to go. I couldn't stay there anymore.
And he told me, he said, Sheila, you don't have to worry about it. And I'm like, why is that?
What are you talking about?
He goes, they arrested Jim yesterday. That's when I just like, what? I really did believe that they had the wrong person. I couldn't even stand to listen to it at that point. It's like, how could this happen? How could this happen? He said, Sheila, they arrested your husband today. They sent a SWAT team and they arrested him when he pulled in. That's when I was just like, what?
A SWAT team for what?
He said they sent 54 police there. They have him in custody. I'm like, well, what did they say he did? He killed a young girl. I'm like, you're kidding me. No, Sheila, I'm not kidding you. And I hung up and I started crying and I'm like, oh my gosh. We didn't have TV at this protective place, but I used to listen to K105.
Authorities brought in crews this morning.
I turned it on and they were talking about it.
The girl's half-naked body had been found in a snowbank back in March. The rope used to strangle the young woman was still tied around her neck.
I was shocked. It was very disturbing.
Signs of a struggle and rape were evident.
Like, I don't even want to hear this. I turned it off. I couldn't even stand to listen to it at that point. It's like, how could this happen? How could this happen? It was just unbelievable. Like, this doesn't happen to you. This happens to, you read about this stuff, but it doesn't happen to somebody you know, and especially not us. But at the same time, I think I was relieved. I'm thinking, I can go back to my house. I don't have to put up with him anymore. It's done. It's a done deal. The next day, I signed us out, and we went home because I knew that he wasn't there. At the time this went to trial, I wanted to believe that he was innocent.
The neighbors of Mr. Cruz say he was the last person they would suspect of violence.
I really did believe that they had the wrong person. I mean, I knew that he could be violent, but I never thought that it would lead to him doing something stupid like that. Never thought he was capable of murder.
Cruz denied everything being a young girl.
You want to think that somebody that you lived with could not have done something like that. But after you hear the evidence,
The prosecution presented damning evidence.
there was a hair that matched Jim's in the rope that strangled her. And they found blonde hair that belonged to her on the door of the truck. That's when it all clicked back in my mind.
Cops were checking our trucks for DNA or something at work.
Wow, this is what the DNA testing was that he had done? I'm like, they didn't DNA test everybody, they DNA tested him. That's how they got him.
This is Dawn. And when you look at this picture beside Jenny, they looked a lot alike. Their eyes, their face, their hair. Why did he kill that girl? Did he kill her because he thought it was Jenny? Jim hated Jenny. I was afraid that he would snap at one point and that he would have done that to Jenny eventually. Something had to have happened there that he snapped and he thought it was Jenny and he choked her. He must have thought it was Jenny. I was so relieved just knowing that he wasn't going to be there anymore. I felt safe. I hadn't felt safe for a long time. But it's hard to believe that he would do something like that. How could you do that? How could you kill somebody? I mean, I felt very sad because she was so young. Like, how could you do that? I felt guilty because maybe if I would have done something earlier in that marriage when things were going on that weren't right, I would have spoke up and said something instead of being scared, being afraid of him, that maybe it would have helped and it wouldn't have gotten to the point where he killed people. We opened up the door and went in. I would have never ever in my lifetime thought that that kind of stuff would have been in my shed. To find out that he actually was guilty, that he actually was, they found him guilty of that, was upsetting. How could you have done something to a 17-year-old? After Jim's trial, it was suggested that he may have killed other women all over the place, places that he had been. Jim drove from the East Coast to the West Coast, down south, Maryland, Pennsylvania, out in Iowa. Wherever they needed to have stuff delivered is where he went. He would talk about when he was parked at the truck stops that would come up to his door and they would knock on the door. All of the other women that he was suspected of murdering and prostitutes. And they all died by strangulation. And the reason that they felt that he had committed these was because the rope was the same, tied the same way, and these all stopped once he was arrested.
murders of women, and I found rope that had been cut, but it was the same rope that had been used on Dawn. Like, I would have never ever in my lifetime thought that that kind of stuff would have been in my shed. That's when actually reality hit, and I knew he was plotting murders. Why else would you keep that stuff there? So then it brought me back to the condoms that I found in his black bag. Then I realized that must have been what he was doing out there. He must have had sex with all of these women before he killed them, or after he killed them. And the gifts that he brought home, they probably were from women that they think that he may have murdered. Why would you bring that stuff home? And why would you give it to your daughter? We found stuff to make a bomb. I think that he was going to kill my 3 older kids and myself. He was going to take the little kids and he was going to blow up the house with Jenny, Jody, Lisa, and I in it. And at that point, I knew that I was lucky that he didn't kill us. He had already gotten life with no parole ever in the state of Pennsylvania, so there was really no use to prosecute him. But they actually think that he did commit those crimes. His job made it easy for him to do that and get away with it. He would always pick a fight before he left. In hindsight, it all made sense to me. If he was mad at me, he could go out there and he could unleash his anger on somebody else. But a lot of these signs I didn't see. Had I'm sure that I would have done things a lot differently. I should have left many, many years before that. In the very beginning, I didn't think that Jim was an evil person. I thought Jim was a loving person. After everything happened that happened in our life, I should have been scared of him. I should have been more scared than I was. I feel very lucky that the kids and I escaped with our lives, because he was a dangerous, dangerous person. I'm just happy to be alive.
A hard-working New Mexico family.
My dad was up at 4 a.m, wouldn't go down till 10 o'clock at night.
She was always the type of person to just help everybody.
Is murdered on Father's Day.
My parents are dead.
They were covered in so much blood.
That was the worst I've ever seen.
Police uncover a loving family.
He was a shaken baby. We were told he may never walk again.
With a startling criminal connection.
She has a history of burglaries.
And a jaw-dropping revelation.
I absolutely was shocked. I didn't think I have ever known anybody in my life who could do something that brutal.
To this day, I still can't understand how the person could do something this tragic, this gruesome.
They said, I know who did it. I know who did it.
El Rancho. A tiny New Mexico town home to just a few hundred families. A place filled with honest, hardworking people.
It's a very
tight-knit community. It's kind of one of those places where everybody knows everybody.
On Father's Day 2011, police receive a 911 call that shatters the early evening calm.
Santa Fe 911, where's your emergency? Okay, tell me exactly what happened.
I don't know, I just went there and put the answer to the phone. He come out and I walked over to check on him and I think it was in the yard.
I can't hear you when you're yelling. Try not to yell into the phone, I can't understand you.
My parents are dead.
The caller is a 35-year-old woman named Cherie Ortiz Rios. Officers arrive at the property she shares with her parents, Lloyd and Dixie Ortiz. Police enter the home occupied by Cherie's parents and her brother to investigate, starting with the master bedroom.
Had observed a female laying face down in her nightgown attire, deceased.
The brutality that was involved was unspeakable.
She had some trauma on the right side of her temple region.
Police believe this is Cherie's 53-year-old mother, Dixie Ortiz.
As you walk out through the main door to the bedroom, there's a couple of steps up into a kitchen. That's where a deceased male was laying face down. That was probably the worst I've ever seen. There was several defects in his head and shoulder area.
Cherie tells police that this is the body of her 21-year-old brother, Stephen.
As you walk back out the room to the rear of the residence, there was another deceased male laying face down. And he had several injuries to his upper torso and his head region.
The dead man is Cherie's 58-year-old father, Lloyd. Detectives called in the medical examiner to take charge of the bodies. For now, they can only speculate about the cause and time of death.
There were limitations on how well we could examine the injuries because they were covered in so much blood.
It looked like something that had penetrated all of their bodies. So at that point, led us to believe that they were actually shot with some type of a firearm.
While the medical examiner carefully removes the bodies, a forensics team meticulously looks for evidence.
We did not find any shell casings. There wasn't a gun located. There was nothing that indicated that we had our murder weapon at the scene. We have no physical evidence as far as some type of a fingerprint. There weren't any footwear impressions in any of the blood. Maybe we can get some DNA, but we don't know that initially. That has to be sent to the lab for testing. With this type of crime scene, generally there's only a couple different types of motive. It's love, money, or anger. So we have to look into those. Lloyd's wallet was on the counter right next to where Stephen was lying in the kitchen. It had money in it. It didn't look like somebody was in there to steal from them.
There's no evidence to suggest this is a robbery, so police consider whether other motives could have been at play.
Who would stand to gain something from killing 3 people on Father's Day in their house?
Police need to learn more about the victims and their family. They turn to Cherie, who lives just steps away.
On the 2/3 of the property, Lloyd, Dixie, and their son, Stephen, lived, and the other third was occupied by Lloyd and Dixie's daughter, Cherie, her husband, Jesse, and their 2 children, Catalina and Robert.
When her sister arrives, a despondent Cherie can barely keep it together.
I remember my sister running up to me and telling me, that my mom and my dad and my brother were dead.
There were nothing I could do or say to make it better for her. 'Cause I love my sister so much, so much.
Cherie and Angela choke back tears as they tell police all about the most important people in their lives.
My mom and dad were the best parents that I could ever ask for. They were always there, always accepted us for who we were, always stood by our side, no matter what.
Lloyd was a tile contractor who was popular in the town.
My dad was amazing. Up at 4 in the morning, wouldn't go down till probably 10 o'clock at night every day.
Lloyd had been married to Dixie for 34 years. She worked in a nursing home.
She didn't even think of that as being a job. It was just who she was.
Dixie's selfless, caring manner didn't stop with her work. In 1989, when their daughters were just teens, she and Lloyd took in a baby in need.
Stephen was 7 months old when he came into our home as a foster child. He was a shaken baby. His left side of the body was paralyzed. He had cerebral palsy. We were told that he may never walk, talk.
I would grab him out of the crib and stick him right next to me in bed, and he would sleep right next to me. I just loved him so much.
As he grew, the family's love helped transform Stephen into a strong and happy little boy.
Walking, potty training, the developmental milestones, they took a lot longer for him to reach, but he reached every single one of them.
Stephen was part of our church, and he was such an absolute joy. He would greet everybody. Everybody in church loved him. He made it a point to talk to everybody. He was quite a young man.
Stephen, Lloyd, and Dixie's lives have been cut tragically short. But why would someone murder such a loving family? Police find one possible reason: growing outside.
There were several marijuana plants that were being grown. There was a fenced-off area where there was 17 plants growing.
These plants were not visible unless you were directly over them. It was a very tight oxygen area that was padlocked.
A marijuana crop under lock and key outside the family home piqued detectives' interest. Had they just uncovered an illegal drug operation?
My parents had a medical marijuana card for my brother and a grower's license. So they were legally growing medical marijuana for my brother.
My brother had 2 brain surgeries to relieve some of the pressure in his brain. And so they prescribed medical marijuana to him to help relieve the headaches he was having. They were pretty debilitating at times.
The family had known that Lloyd was growing the marijuana for Stephen, and the family would smoke some of the marijuana.
While the marijuana was being grown legally, detectives suspect that it could have attracted the attention of the wrong people.
Was this some type of a drug-related incident?
Police become even more concerned when Cherie and her husband Jesse relay a story about a few suspicious characters they heard outside their home on the night of the murder.
They indicated that they were watching a movie that ended between 1:30 and 2 o'clock in the morning. Their dog started barking, and Jesse got up and walked to the front window. He saw a car that was parked outside.
He heard a kid yelling out there. He heard somebody say, "Hurry up, come on." And he was like, "There's somebody out there." And so he went back in and even grabbed a gun. And he got in his truck and he drove his truck toward that car.
Coming up, the autopsy reveals an unexpected cause of death.
It's not generally your weapon of choice. It's extremely violent, it's brutal.
And the town is stunned when the killer is revealed.
People were in disbelief. As a pastor, it was hard for me to even fathom.
Hours after Lloyd, Dixie, and Stephen Ortiz are found dead, police are hunting for the driver of a car seen outside the home the night before the murders.
We interviewed Lloyd and Dixie's daughter, Cherie, and she said that her husband, Jesse, saw a car that was parked outside and to the left of the property. He had indicated that the vehicle was a gray car.
The dog started barking crazy. My husband, Jesse, he came out and even got in his truck.
Cherie tells police Jesse followed the vehicle in his truck. But when detectives interview Jesse, he tells them a completely different story.
In Jesse's interview, he had failed to mention that he actually left the house that evening.
You never left the house?
No.
Why would your wife say you left the house?
That I left the house.
Why would she say that?
Maybe because I was outside or something.
She said she heard you leave the house. Why would she say that?
I don't know.
It was pretty concerning that he would forget one of the biggest details of that evening with his involvement.
As detectives continue to press Jesse, he suddenly remembers details from the night before.
Jesse.
You know what? I might have left the house. When I seen the car parked. You know what? That is correct. That is correct.
You see the issue?
Yeah, I do. I forgot about that.
It's something you don't just forget about, Jesse.
Well, I'm serious, man.
Man to man. You know where I'm going. Right. It's time to start talking.
I did. I do remember, because I remember going back down there to get my keys. And I did get in my truck. And I drove towards the dead end that way.
What happened then?
I passed by.
Why would you not confront somebody right there?
Because I didn't expect anything.
Jesse, lying to me, dude.
I'm not lying to you, bro. I'm telling you the truth.
Jesse's changing story now has police eyeing him as a suspect. And when they ask him about his relationship with his in-laws, they think they may have hit upon a motive.
We found out something very alarming. There was some stuff in the close past that had caused some family tension between Lloyd and Jesse. And we knew at one point Lloyd was embarrassed of the way that Cherie and Jesse's property looked, so he actually built a fence in between the two properties so he didn't have to look at it anymore. So we knew there was some tension there.
Police can't rule out that tension in the family could have boiled over. Could Jesse have slipped out of the house and committed 3 heinous murders over a minor family squabble? To get to the truth, police grilled the couple about where they were the night of the murder.
They told us the timeline of where they were. They went to a casino. They were there for X amount of time, drove to their residence. They put in a movie right away. They were able to identify almost minute for minute of what they did that entire day, which is kind of unusual.
And when police ask Cherie about finding the bodies, she tearfully gives them a detailed account of the horror that unfolded.
And I walked in and I was like, Mom. And then I walked over to her to shake her, and her head was blown. And so I ran to the kitchen to check for my brother and my dad, and I thought it was my dad laying on the floor in his underwear because his face was so blown off. And so I ran home screaming for my husband. And my husband went back and he said, honey, that's Stephen in the kitchen. Your dad's dead in the backyard.
Cherie's story is plausible, but one thing she can't explain is something she told police when she called 911.
They're dead! They have gunshot wounds to the head! They're dead! They've been dead since this morning!
Cherie said that she knew if she would have went over there, she could have saved him that morning, which told me that she had intimate knowledge of when the homicides actually occurred, which pretty concerning. How would she know that? We didn't know that timeline of when they were actually killed.
Detectives are no longer suspicious of just Jesse. Is it possible that the Ortiz's own daughter could be involved as well?
We did obtain DNA samples from Cherie and Jesse to try and analyze to see if there was anything that could be mashed.
Police searched Cherie and Jesse's home, hoping to find a physical link to the murder. With so much activity in the tiny town of El Rancho, news of the crime spreads.
My wife and I raced down to the property. When we had got there, there was quite a few people there. Cherie was just outside herself. She was just hysterical.
Detectives can't help but wonder if Cherie's tears are genuine, yet they're unable to find any physical evidence to link Cherie or Jesse to the murders. When the autopsy report comes back the next day, they hope the results will help them shed some light on the mystery.
I actually did attend the autopsy, and during the course of the autopsy, the pathologist informed us that the wounds sustained were the result of impact trauma. they were killed with a pickaxe. Stephen Ortiz, the son of Lloyd and Dixie, received 17 blows to the head from the pickaxe. Evidently, the victims were beaten long after they were already deceased.
The amount of force that was used to cause this was extreme. My initial reaction was, who had this much anger to want to kill him in such a gruesome manner?
After receiving the autopsy report on a horrific triple homicide in El Rancho, New Mexico, detectives have just discovered that the Ortiz family was killed with a pickaxe. Now that police know what to look for, they quickly set out to find the murder weapon.
One of the agents remembers seeing a Maddox-style pickaxe lying in an adjacent field to the west of the residence. So we immediately went to the scene and found our pickaxe, covered in blood. Processed it to the crime scene lab in Santa Fe and waited for results.
There was a lot of hope that there was going to be potential evidence that would link the assailant to the pickaxe.
There was nothing. There was nothing there. We got DNA that was identified on the pickaxe from the 3 victims. Nobody else.
Still, the murder weapon does tell police something about the killer.
It would take a great deal of force to cause that type of injury.
Police had to consider whether either of their suspects were strong enough to commit the crime. Jesse was capable. Was Cherie? While police search for answers, the small town of El Rancho is gripped with fear.
The whole community was on high alert. This kind of crime is very unusual for that area.
All we knew was that there were 3 dead people that the community loved, and nobody knew why and how.
Police continue to look into the alibis of the main suspects, Cherie Ortiz and her husband Jesse Rios, who said they'd been to a casino that night. Investigators see if their story can be verified.
They were seen on surveillance video at a gas station, and then they went to a casino.
This supports the couple's claims. Investigators also track what they did the rest of the evening.
We were able to pinpoint the length of time that it would take to drive from the casino to their house.
The timeline puts them in their home, right next door to the murders, at the time of the crime. But it's not nearly enough evidence to pursue a case. Police hope to utilize the publicity surrounding the murders and make an appeal for tips.
Everybody wanted to say who they thought it was, but didn't have any merit behind any of the stuff they were coming forward with.
Detectives also combed through their witness interviews and hit on a name they hadn't considered before.
Initially, Angela had mentioned that Nicholas Ortiz was a 16-year-old, just a regular kid in the community. Cherie had a son that was Nicholas's age, and they went to school together.
Nick Ortiz had a positive relationship with the family. There's no relation, by the way, between Nick Ortiz and the 3 Ortizes who were victim. It's just same last name.
Nicholas's family lived right up the road from us, and that's how him and my son had become friends.
He was having some troubles at home. Eventually, my sister opened up her home to him, gave him his own room.
He would go over next door to Lloyd and Dixie's house. They would give him money. They took him to the flea market. They took him everywhere. So they basically just treated him like he was one of the family.
But the transition to family member wasn't all smooth.
My husband and I had caught Nicholas going through our drawers. We had just started noticing a little bit of money missing. Things moved. So we started giving him an allowance every week for the chores he was doing as well.
Nick's troubles extended to school, too.
Nick had come home from school, and you could tell he had been punched in the face and was kind of beat up. I freaked out. Oh my God, who did this to you? He said, I joined a gang with some friends of mine and I had to let them beat me up. And I was like, okay, so now today we're gonna have the anti-gang talk. And I mean, we did.
The family tells police that joining a gang was just one example of the problems Nick brought to their home.
One night, my father had asked my son to cut down a plum tree that was dead in his backyard. And when they went out there, Nick was hiding behind some raised flower beds they had in their backyard. And the backyard was a secured area for the two little dogs they had, so both gates were locked from the inside. So he had to have jumped the fence to get back there.
Nick basically jumped up and kind of went towards him, joking in a joking manner, like to scare him. And Lloyd wasn't impressed by it. He didn't think it was funny.
After stealing from the family and joining a gang, this was the final straw for Lloyd.
He basically told Nick that he was not welcome at that property ever again.
It made us feel on guard and very uncomfortable, and we think it's best that it's time for him to move back home. I then text Nicholas and told him that he could come and pick up all the clothing and furniture that we had purchased for him over that time period, and he could take it home with him. I never really saw him again after that.
Could the Ortiz's rejection of Nicholas lead him to kill? Had he murdered Lloyd, Dixie, and Stephen in cold-blooded revenge? The police bring in Nick for questioning.
Do you know anything about this case that could help us?
Police in El Rancho, New Mexico have a new suspect in the murders of Lloyd, Dixie, and Stephen Ortiz. An unrelated 16-year-old named Nicholas Ortiz.
Do you know anything about this case that could help us?
I don't. The only thing I've heard was what people have told me from the news.
He came off as this calm kid that didn't do anything wrong. He was just kind of like your baseline kid.
Detectives confront Nicholas about his speedy exit from the Ortiz home.
Lloyd just told you. What exactly did he say? You remember? Yeah.
Telling me that I have to have my trust with them, not to go near them anymore or anything. I said, okay, fine. So you guys want to leave? You know, that was really the last time we spoke.
Okay. How did you feel then?
The detectives ask where he was the night of the murder.
He said he was at home with his dad and sisters leading up to Father's Day. Between 12 and 1 o'clock, he woke his father up and wished him a happy Father's Day and went back to bed. And he was there when his mom got off of work, which was around 7:30 in the morning. Everything was corroborated as far as his alibi.
Not only does Nicholas have a solid alibi, his demeanor in the interview doesn't suggest he is the killer.
Do you think if you found out who did that?
If I found out who did it, I would call the police right away.
Police find people in the community who vouch for Nick.
Nicholas was part of our congregation. He was very, very gentlemanlike. He was kind. He was willing to help. He would stay late sometimes and help us pick up after the church.
Police cross Nicholas Ortiz off the suspect list. Then, 2 days after the murder, they get an urgent call from Cherie Ortiz.
I called the police and I told them we found out about a safe that was well hidden, enough where my sister and I didn't even know it existed. At my parents' house, my Uncle Walter had called me and said, I built your dad a secret piece of furniture that would hide a safe in it.
The unit was so well concealed, the police had not found it when they searched the house days earlier.
I said, I do not want to know any more until we contact the police. So we had to have it opened up there at the police station.
Inside was $80,000 in cash, as well as some of the life insurance paperwork.
That's when we found that my dad had been saving money for years. He had his retirement saved in there.
Cherie says she didn't know about the money, but police make a discovery that puts her claim in doubt.
We had learned through district court that the power of attorney had been given to Cherie at this point, and she was basically going to be the heir of hundreds of thousands of dollars in life insurance policies that Lloyd and Dixie had. And that $80,000 that was in the safe was part of a cash out from those life insurance policies.
Cherie says she didn't know about the insurance policy. The inheritance was large enough to give Cherie and Jesse a powerful motive for murder. But motive alone wasn't enough to arrest either one of them.
We have no physical evidence that could tie Cherie and Jesse to the crime.
The discovery of the safe also causes police to speculate on how the Ortizes had amassed so much money. Could it have anything to do with the marijuana growing on the property?
Kind of raised some concern to us as to why he was growing it. Are they possibly selling this stuff?
Detectives investigate whether Lloyd was secretly involved in trafficking. The answer comes back clear.
Nothing was taken from this house. It didn't even appear that whoever was there at the time knew that there was pot plants being grown behind this fence. And knowing anything about the industry of marijuana, there were smaller plants, they weren't mature. We were able to pretty much rule out that the gangs were tied in to this.
It's another blow for the investigation. And as days turn to weeks, detectives are no closer to catching those responsible.
Essentially, you do run out of leads or you run into dead ends. As frustrating as it was for us as investigators, it had to have been exponentially worse for the family.
I was on the phone with the police every single day asking, what have they heard? Anything new? What can I do to help? And we were always told, nothing. There's nothing you can do.
I truly felt like they were not ever going to solve this case.
Then, 16 months after the murders, detectives get the break they've been praying for when they receive a call from the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Department.
In October of 2012, I had just gotten home from work and I got a call that there's somebody there that wants to give some information to me in reference to the homicide. And she was in jail. She said she just wants to get something off her chest.
Detectives are hopeful a new tip will finally help solve the murders of Lloyd, Dixie, and Stephen Ortiz. The information comes from a young woman in the custody of Santa Fe police.
Ashley Ball was 24, and she has a history of burglaries and of drug use.
Ashley told officers that she knew something about the El Rancho murders. At that point, ears started to perk within law enforcement.
Before questioning Ashley, police look into her background.
Ashley grew up in El Rancho.
Ashley wasn't necessarily a troubled teen per se, but she got in trouble a lot.
From a young age, was in and out of the detention center.
Lead detective Craig Bobnock questions Ashley about what she knows.
As I started explaining that it was a voluntary interview, she kept interrupting me saying, I know who did it, I know who did it.
Ashley claims that on the night of the murder, she was smoking weed with her cousin, Jose Roybal, and a mutual friend.
They needed money, so they were gonna go hit the Ortiz's house. And I took them, I dropped them off, and I went back home.
She told me that she owned a gray 1997 Saturn car, two-door car, during the time of the homicide. So I immediately thought of Jesse's statement.
Cherie Ortiz's husband, Jesse Rios, had told police he saw a gray car driving slowly past their house late on the night of the murder. But it's what Ashley says next that grabs detectives' attention.
I got a call about maybe half an hour, 45 minutes later.
The call was from Jose's friend, and he needed a ride.
He got in my car. He had blood on his pants. He had a trash bag tied around his right foot. That's when he told me that he killed Stephen, Dixie, and Lloyd. He said he threw the pickaxe by the fence. He kept saying he killed him, he messed up, he killed him.
Ashley told me that the single person that killed the Ortiz family was Nick Ortiz.
Ashley's revelation is explosive. This family took in Nick when he was having trouble at home.
He stayed there for upwards of a couple of months, in which he got very close with the family. He would eat there, he would get off the school bus there. It was basically his home, and they took him in.
But police need to be sure Ashley's telling the truth. After all, she has a rap sheet, and their suspect has an alibi.
The information that Ashley Roybal provided had to have come from somebody who was actually there during the incident.
Ashley explains another detail that puts her at the scene.
Do they wear gloves? Do they care about fingerprints usually?
He had a sock on his hand.
He did have a sock on his hand?
Mm-hmm.
Police are hopeful they can find evidence in Ashley's car, but it's nowhere to be found.
It's 18 months later. She had said she had sold it to a tow company. The vehicle ultimately ended up at the shredder. Couldn't find it.
Investigators had to find another way to verify her story.
I received a lot of the phone logs, and that was my big piece of evidence at this point.
Cell phone records show the communication between Nicholas, Ashley, and her cousin Jose peaked around the time of the murders, so investigators immediately bring Nick back in to confront him with the evidence.
So I brought Nick in. He's in 100% denial of everything until I bring up the phone records.
I'm just gonna show you, dude, these are your texts between you and Jose. You're the orange and he's the white. That's how much you guys texted on Saturday night into Sunday morning. Is it surprising?
Well, with all due respect to you guys and all that, I'd really like to just stop talking and go home.
Okay.
I want another chance at another interview with him, so I didn't want to ruin it. So we ended the interview.
Investigators' next move is to haul in Jose for questioning. Since he's a minor, they get permission from his parents to speak to him.
He was 15 at the time. He drank a lot. He had problems at home. He didn't have a good reputation.
Police talk to Jose, and he opens up.
Ashley dropped me and Nick off so we could go rob the house. She left. Nick told me he would go in. He wanted me to go in with him to go kill. And I told him no. I didn't want to. I was scared. He started walking towards the house. When he started walking towards the house, I ran to the river. I got to my house. And then Ashley and Nick show up. Nick is white as a ghost. I knew he had did it. He told me he had did it. He told me he did it.
Jose's story matches Ashley's, and suddenly police have two witnesses against Nicholas.
On February 12th, 2015, I got the approval from the district attorney to get an arrest warrant for Nick Ortiz. District court judge signed it and said, go pick him up.
Just like before, Nicholas remains uncooperative.
So I brought him in a copy of the criminal complaint. There were 5 total charges on the criminal complaint that I gave him. He said, I don't agree with 2 of these charges on here. And there were only 2 charges that were different from murder. So it's an admission to me. I knew I had him at that point. It was him.
With Nicholas taken into custody, detectives finally have some news for the Ortiz family.
I absolutely was shocked when the police said he had done this. I didn't think I have ever known anybody in my life who could do something like that brutal. I've never met anybody that could hurt people so grossly. It didn't make sense because that was not at all his personality when he lived with us.
People were in disbelief. As a pastor, it was hard for me to even fathom the fact that a young man like this could do something so tragic, this gruesome.
On June 15th, 2015, Nicholas goes to trial for massacring the Ortiz family.
Nick was a minor at the time. Given the fact that this was a heinous triple homicide, the judge did agree with my office that Nicholas should be charged as an adult.
When the trial starts, the prosecution is confident of a conviction until an unexpected development jeopardizes the whole case.
So in the middle of trial, we received a big surprise in Jose changing his testimony completely.
Nicholas Ortiz alone stands accused of a savage triple murder. His two former friends are taking plea bargains to testify against him. But just as prosecutors think it's a cut and dry case, the unexpected happens.
So in the middle of trial, we received a big surprise in Jose changing his testimony completely, pointing at Ashley as the individual who instructed them to kill the family.
Originally, the plan was to rob the Ortiz family, but according to Jose, Ashley had something more sinister in mind.
Jose Roybal testified that Ashley said, "Why don't you just kill them?"
It's a stunning statement, which the defense denies.
The case agent said, "Well, she said she didn't say that." And then the lawyer said, "Yeah, but Jose Roybal says she did, so somebody must be lying." Jose testified that Ashley gave the two boys socks to cover up their hands and plastic bags with Kleenex in them to cover up their feet so that they wouldn't leave traces there. He also said that she is the one that handed Nick the weapon.
According to Jose, in the early hours of June 19th, 2011, Ashley tells Nicholas and Jose it's time to put her unthinkable plan into action.
Ashley takes Jose and Nick to the Ortiz house, drops them off.
Jose got scared. He left. He ran home. Nick went towards the house.
He knocks on the back door. Lloyd Ortiz gets up out of bed. When he opens it, he's attacked by Nicholas with the pickaxe.
He didn't stop there. He went into the house and struck Dixie twice in her temple on the right side of her head with the pickaxe.
Nicholas moved on to the kitchen looking for the money, but he found Stephen instead.
Recognizing who is in his house, Stephen puts up a fight.
Nick delivers 17 blows to his head and body and kills him.
After Nick killed the three Ortizes, he didn't take anything. He got scared, so he just left. He walked out the door and called Ashley.
The revelations come as a shock to the victim's family.
Every day that we were at that trial, it was devastating because we learned things. I learned things that I didn't know. And I wish I hadn't, because it still haunts me.
Nick doesn't say a thing during the entire trial. It's Jose's word against Ashley's. How would their competing testimonies affect the jury?
The case was based almost entirely on Ashley and Jose's testimony, and that was a point of contention amongst people up until the sentencing.
After 3.5 days, I remember the jury went into the courtroom and the foreperson said, no matter how much time you give us, we're just not going to come to a consensus. So the judge had no choice but to declare a mistrial.
It was horrible. It was devastating to me.
I felt like our hearts had been ripped out. We had all this hope.
Luckily, we have the opportunity to try them again, which we did.
17 months later, in December 2016, the case goes back to court.
Luckily, this time around, we proved to all 12 jurors that Nicholas Ortiz was the individual that killed those 3 people.
On October 28, 2019, Nicholas is sentenced to 25 years in prison. The victory rings hollow for the victims' loved ones.
What that felt like to me was each victim, my mom, my dad, and my brother, was only worth 8 years each. That's exactly what that is. It's a joke. That's not justice.
He's gonna do probably 12 to 15 years. No way. No way.
Ashley Roybal received a 20-year sentence. 6 years of that was suspended, so 14 years of incarceration.
Jose got full immunity for his testimony. He never got so much as probation.
Even though years have passed since the murders, their effects remain.
I would say I'm sorry to my parents and my brother. I'm sorry I wasn't there to help you. So I would say I love you and I miss you and I'm so sorry.
I want them to be remembered through their compassion, their love for children, their love for life, how they lived for us as their daughters, for my brother, and to remind us each day that that's how we should live.
For more information on an unexpected killer, go to oxygen.com.